Are you eager to take your dessert plating skills to the next level, yet you find yourself a bit unsure of where to begin? Well, you're in for a treat, because today's video is all about how a simple compote can elevate your dessert plating game. To achieve a well-constructed dessert, there are a few things you've got to nail. A delicious sauce, a satisfying crunch, and that final touch of garnish. While we will be using all these things today, this video is focusing on the saucy component. Let me introduce you to a compote. It's a chunky, syrupy sauce that you can literally whip up with just about any fruit you've got, fresh or frozen. And here's where it gets exciting. You can use different fruit to bring a whole range of other colours and flavours, making your desserts not only taste amazing, but look stunning too. So whether you're aiming for that perfect flavour combo, or you want your dessert to turn heads, a simple compote can be your secret weapon for making it happen. Let's make a basic blueberry compote. We need some maple syrup and vanilla essence, a lemon for the juice and zest, a microplane comes in handy for zesting, and of course we need some blueberries. You can use fresh or frozen fruit. I'm going to measure these out so I can pop the rest back into the freezer. Start with half the berries in the pot and add a little splash of water to stop it burning. Zest in some of that delicious zingy lemon zest and add a bit of the juice too for a tangy twist. Adding the lemon isn't essential if you don't have fresh lemons handy, but if you do, it's well worth it. I'm adding in a little vanilla essence too. This is the customizable part where you can really add any spices or flavourings to the sauce. Flavours that are already in your dessert, or something that might bring a complementary flavour work well. For this compote, I'm using maple syrup for sweetness, but of course you can use any sweetener of your choice. Once all your flavourings are in, bring it to a light simmer. Making a compote is really just like making a coulis. The only real difference is that a coulis would be strained and a compote is left chunky. I like to add the other half of the berries about halfway through the cooking process for added variety and texture in the finished compote. This, of course, is totally optional, but trust me, it's worth a try. I'm reducing this right down until the sauce is syrupy. It'll take about 5 minutes or so. You could also thicken it with a cornflour slurry if you wanted to. Isn't that a gorgeous colour? That's the beauty of a compote. You can adjust it to fit any dessert vibe you're going for. Switch up the fruit, add spices, and it elevates your dessert in the process. Here's our beautiful blueberry compote, but we're not going to leave it there. Let's get some desserts and see how we can use this. The first dessert I've got is the sago pudding or tapioca pudding, set in a little glass ramekin. Our compote can now be used to add flavour and enhance the visual appeal of this otherwise plain sago dessert. By the way, the recipes for the desserts in this video are on my website. Also on my website, you can sign up to my free newsletter where you can get the recipes from each video delivered directly to your inbox, along with other cooking, plating and presentation inspiration. We could leave this just like this, but do you know what makes a good dessert into a great dessert? Adding a garnish. Let's see what we've got. We'll start with some whipped cream. When you choose your dessert ramekin or bowl, a lot of different options could work, but I love how the glass ramekin shows off the little tapioca balls and the colour variation here. You could plop on a spoon of cream, but I often find myself defaulting to a piping bag. I'll put the cream in, ready to use soon. Here's some tuile biscuits I made this morning. They'll add a nice crunchy texture to the dessert. And I've also got some mint for a nice green garnish. Adding cream with the piping bag allows you to get consistency on all the desserts. It's also a clean and tidy way to do it. I think I'm going to add these tuile leaves to this one. Don't you love these delicate pipe tuiles? And here's the finishing touch. Do you think these garnishes have taken this dessert from a good dessert to a great dessert? I absolutely love how the sauce has elevated the sago as a pudding and how the sauce, crunch and garnish have enhanced the presentation. For our second idea, we've got some banana and blueberry mini loaves. I've also got a buttercream frosting. Here it is. It's white chocolate and vanilla bean. Let's get some onto our mini loaves. I'm going for a rustic look by icing these with the back of a teaspoon. Try to keep the icing on the mini loaf. We don't want it falling off the edges. See how I'm also deliberately swirling the buttercream to create a few dips and ridges. It adds to the rustic style of these mini loaves. I'm sure you get the idea. Let's add the compote. We've got this beautiful contrast happening again. These blueberries are such a deep colour. I don't want the blueberries sliding off because that looks a bit sloppy, but I do want a little syrup running down. So I'm adding a few extra drips of the sauce near the edge to allow it to naturally run down. My rosemary bush is in full flower at the moment, and these little flowers are edible. Don't they make an amazing garnish? The slight flavour they give is surprisingly complementary too. These mini loaves would make a lovely dessert at lunchtime, or even a gourmet snack with a cup of tea at any time. For our third dessert today, we've got a nice lemon cheesecake. Lemon and blueberry, it's like a match made in heaven. We need to trim this up a bit though. Let's get a knife and a jar. If we use some hot water, we can get a clean, even cut on the cheesecake. The knife will slide straight through because it almost melts it a little. If you use a cold knife, you could end up taking a chunk of cheesecake out along with your cut. I'll need some paper towel to dry my knife after dipping it in the water between each cut. The tin I used to set this in had slightly rounded corners, but I want them nice and crisp. For presentation purposes, it will look better to trim a little off. Not to mention, the cook always needs something to sample behind the scenes. See how dirty the knife got after just one cut? If I didn't clean this off, all of it would end up on the next slice I cut. This wouldn't look great, so make sure you clean and dry your knife between cuts. Oops, the tip of my knife's knocked out a little piece. We'll deal with that soon. Since the hot knife sort of melts the cheesecake, I've ended up with a few little lumps on the front edges. I can easily tidy these up with a small warm palette knife. Magic, isn't it? Perfect. We're ready to plate. This is always my favourite part. The baking is done, all the components are ready, so we can assemble the dessert. When you're plating, especially something that doesn't need to be served warm, go slowly and get it how you want it. It only costs a few extra seconds, but from a presentation point of view, it looks $1 million. I'm thinking a bit of compote on top with a little syrup running down will look great. Go easy, you don't want too much syrup pooling on the plate. Here's our garnish selection. We could use this twisted tuile, but maybe this one is better. Yes, that's going to add a bit of height. Then the mint tip should look good in here. I love those beautiful little flowers on the mini loaf, so I'm going to add a few of them to this cheesecake too. back to that little bit of crumb that fell out. It is being pedantic, but it's bothering me, so I'm going to hide it with a few more berries on the side. What do you think? I hope you can see how a garnish is all it takes to elevate a dessert, and adding a simple sauce like a compote is an absolute game changer. Here's the video you need if you're keen to make tuile paste and create some of your own crunchy tuiles. See you over there.